Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to talk all about science, which is really going to be fabulous in New Haven. My guest is Dawn Hocevar, President and CEO of BioCT.
Yes.
What is BioCT for people who do not know?
Okay. BioCT is a nonprofit organization that represents bioscience and pharmaceutical industry in the state of Connecticut. So all the states in the country that have a large proponents of bioscience have nonprofit affiliates that support them. And we support them by working with the government, the academic centers, industry, etc., to help collaborate and build this industry and therefore the economy of the state.
What is our endeavor here? Do we want to be a big bio-state, biosciences, a mecca of that? What's the vision in the state of Connecticut so far?
That's a great question. I mean, we have Massachusetts to the north of us, New York to the south. We can't try to compete with that. We are Connecticut, and we have our own strengths. And what builds a successful bioscience cluster is having the academic centers that we have, Yale, UConn, etc., that we have talent, that we have the workforce to put into these companies, that we have funding sources, that we have other resources for startup companies, etc. And this is organically here, especially in the city of New Haven.
Give me an idea of what types of companies that we've already attracted, and what are they doing?
That's a great question. So outside of the large pharma companies that we have in the state, like the Pfizer, the Boehringer Ingelheims, the majority of our members, we're a member-run driven organization, are startup companies. They're small companies that have been spun out of Yale or Jack's Labs, UConn, and they need everything to sustain themselves and to become a successful company. So because a researcher has a brilliant idea, it doesn't mean he'll have a successful company because he's not a business person. Listen to me, he or she may not be business people.
Because that's one side of the brain and the business is the other side of the brain.
Well, some people can do it all,
right,
but you need the correct executive team to really run a company in a successful way, because these companies fail quite often
if they don't have the help. So what type of startups are here, and what are they making, and who are you helping?
So since we're here in New Haven, let's talk about Yale. Yale, I think over the past 10 years or so, they've had 30 companies come out of Yale. Of those companies, several fail, but the ones that have succeeded, we have had 2 or 3 IPOs recently, and Arvinas is a very success story coming out of Yale. There's other companies like Loxo Oncology, there's Biohaven, there's Trevi just did an IPO. So there's a lot of exciting things going on right now.
Who comes to you and says, help me?
That's a great question. Companies that are either trying to develop a company and they don't even know where to start, so we help point them in the right direction. There are accelerators in the state that help them. It's kind of like going to college for learning how to run a company. You know, how do you put your business plan together? How do you hire people? What do you look for, etc. That's from the startup perspective all the way through to folks that are in an incubator space, wet lab incubators. There are 2 of those in Connecticut. One's up in Groton called the Commons, and there's another one in UConn called TIP. And both of those incubators were funded by the state of Connecticut to help them get going, and both of them are full today. We have waiting lists of people wanting to come in. It's
wonderful.
A great success story.
You're a California gal. You've been here 4 years. What attracted you to Connecticut to get involved as CEO and president?
Well, my whole career has been in the sciences. I have a major in biology and chemistry, and I worked at Stanford University for 6 years. And then I decided I didn't want to be at the bench. And so I looked for outside things to do. And I have that right brain, left brain, creative business.
So lucky.
And I said, no, I'm a people person. So I went into the business side, and I been doing that my whole career. Now, I haven't worked for a bio company. I have worked for vendors that support the industry.
Sure.
And the company I was with before this position, BioSurplus, they are a San Diego-based company, and they asked me to come and start their New England operations. So I said yes. They had hired me originally to start their San Francisco location, did that. Once my daughter went off to college, I said, fine, I'll go. Life's an adventure, so here I am, and I love it here. I really do.
So what do you see growing here that maybe wouldn't grow in California, since you know California? What's the difference here?
I think the lifestyle here, you can't, your salary can go much longer and much farther here. California, my kids can't even live in California because they can't afford it. So the cost of living is much better here. I think the beaches here are fantastic. I purposely don't go on the highway so I can learn all the back roads and learn about what is Connecticut. And it's beautiful.
It's a gorgeous state.
It's a gorgeous state. And so I'm excited about that. And I have met several people that have moved here from California. And everybody loves it.
Left coast, right coast.
Yes,
that's how it goes.
I have to be on the coast. Yes, absolutely.
So are we behind the 8 ball when it comes to biosciences, or are we catching up? Where are we in the scheme of things when we look at the country?
We are catching up.
Okay.
So that's the good news. And I think what it's taking for the catch-up is for, again, we were just talking, you know, it's a small state. There's only so many resources in the state. And so what's exciting is that all of the different pieces of the ecosystem are collaborating. You know, the folks that are, you know, if you're in a BI, Boehringer Ingelheim, or you're up at UConn, or you're at Yale, how do we make this work? What do we need? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? And what do we do about that? I just left a meeting today with a working group that is from key stakeholders within this industry, talking about how we move things forward while the new administration is figuring out what they're doing and how they're going to go about things. We're moving full speed ahead.
Are you serving as a megaphone then for biosciences in Connecticut, and you're going to go out to the world, or to at least to the country?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, for instance, Bio, it's a national nonprofit, and they're out of Washington, D.C. We are affiliated with them, and they have their annual convention every year. It's on one coast or the other, and this year it's in Philadelphia, and we're going in 2 weeks, and Connecticut has a very large footprint there. A lot of states put booths together, and we are very proud to talk about what's here in Connecticut, why somebody should come to Connecticut as opposed to another state, and what resources we have that would be very beneficial to their companies.
What are you most jazzed about as president and CEO in Connecticut now for 4 years? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about the passion and the talent that's here. It is no different than California, San Francisco, or Boston. None at all. It's just a matter of having all of that come together, as I said already, collaboration, and you know, move things forward.
So Biosciences, BioCT has its own mission. Do you also have a mission when you got on the ground and got to know this state? Are there things that you're trying to do even apart from its mission? In either bringing people here or getting the word out, or when we think of Connecticut, do we think science? Well, you do, I think, if you're a scientist, but if you're not, I mean...
Well, I was thrilled to be asked to come here because I think bioscience, this industry, is the #1 cluster in this state. 46% of employees in the state work in the sciences. So whether it's in healthcare, hospitals, academic science, this industry, that's 46% of the state.
It's a job driver.
Oh, tremendous.
Big time.
Tremendous.
Yale is the 4th largest hospital in the United States, so you've got that. And like you say, you've got UConn Medical Center, and you've got all these other little pockets. And you and I talked about it too. We're sandwiched in between Boston and New York. There's a lot bubbling here, and people should start to recognize that. You know,
absolutely.
We know people are moving out of the state, but how about you stay in the state and build something here, right? That's kind of your mantra.
Right. And the other piece is there are people coming to the state. I mean, we get calls every week. You know, we're thinking of moving, you know, can you tell us about Connecticut? You know, what can we find here in Connecticut? So there's a lot of people looking to come in here now. Now there's a spotlight on Connecticut right now for this industry because of the IPOs that are happening, successful companies that are being created, more venture companies are now looking to potentially come here in Connecticut, which would be very, very helpful. Right now we have Connecticut Innovations, which is the state-run funding arm for the life sciences, and they've done a tremendous job. We have Canaan Partners, which is down in Westport area, and we have Elm Street Ventures, and outside of those, the rest of it is kind of angel funders, corporate capital money that's being looked at. We're trying to bring it all right here.
Is there something you can let us in on that's about to come, or you're about to help somebody that maybe is quasi-public?
Well, I don't know if you heard, but some exciting things going on is Yale had just announced that they're spending, I think it was $840 million on putting a new innovation center in New Haven. I think I can talk about this, but there's another project that a developer and Yale are looking to do, which is to put another building up to give us incubator space here in New Haven. It's critical. It's critical. And so that is going to happen. I just found out
Under
today.
your watch. I love it.
There you go.
See? Look at that.
Yeah, thank you. So that's very exciting, and that's coming. We have some other companies that are considering coming into the state, so I can't talk about that yet.
But hopefully soon and press releases will be coming.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I'm so thankful that you came from the West Coast to the East Coast to help drive biosciences in the state of Connecticut.
Yes.
Dawn Hocevar, President CEO of BioCT, thank you so much, and I can't wait to hear more from what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Spend all night kissing and if Walter's right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm so wishing I found the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Need to keep locked in the grocery store, but mine just to save time. Skip right ahead to the last ride.